today is Wednesday, February the 8th, 2012. And Joe Turner and myself, Judy Meyer, are talking to Carlos Johnson. And your wife's name is what?
Isolina.
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 Carlos, how old are you? Would you mind telling us how old you are? When were you born?
I was born in 1924.
1924. And where were you born? Where?
Alton, Missouri.
Alton. Okay, across the river.
You know, south.
And what about your wife? Where was she born?
At west of Poplar Bluff, Donovan, and you draw a line from Salem south, and from Poplar Bluff west, you'll hit Alton.
Right. And she was born in Poplar Bluff?
No, she was born in El Salvador, Central America.
El Salvador.
Uh-huh.
And when did she come here to,
She come to San Francisco in 1943. 43, I think.
in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Did you meet her there?
I met her there in the shipyard.
In a shipyard? What do you mean?
She came to San Francisco to visit her aunt, and she met a lot of friends there, you know. They talked her into getting a job. So I think she first went to work at a what was it, dishwasher or something. And they took her to the shipyard and got her a job in the welder.
A welder?
Uh-huh. They sent you to school, you know. And I was working there then.
Why were you out in San Francisco?
Working. That was during the war. And I didn't pass for the Army, and they told me to get a job, a defense job.
Oh, they just wanted you to work in,
A friend
okay.
of mine had been out there, and he asked me, you want to go to San Francisco with me? I said, when are you going? And I think it's 2 or 3 days later.
How old were you
I said,
then?
yeah,
How old were you then when you went out to San Francisco?
19.
19.
And we got a job the next day after we got there.
Wow.
And I had, you won't believe this,
What?
I had $45, no $50. And my train ticket cost me $45.
Wow.
I had $5 when I got there. Well, a little less because I had a pancake and
Had to have something to eat.
breakfast, you know, once or twice.
Yes.
Eat 2 meals, 3 meals out of that. But anyway, he went to his old rooming house, and the lady put us up, you know, give us a room. And she knew him already, you know, and we got a job the next day and went to work. And I got to draw on my paycheck, worked 2 days and got my money, you know, for 2 days pay. Well, that put me over till I got a check. And so I worked there for quite some time and I met her. Well, I worked for an old man there. He was crippled, and I done all of his running and climbing for him. You know, I was like a squirrel then.
Yes, I
And,
understand.
So he retired, and he talked to me to give me his job because I knew all the parts, you know, everything, brackets, every place that we had to work, you know, because I'd worked for him about 1.5 years. And she was on the gang, and that's where I met her. She was working for me. I was the boss.
Oh.
But you know, it only took her about a year and a half to change that.
What do you mean? She
Boss's
became
job.
the boss?
No, she got to be boss.
Right, so she became the boss.
We got married.
Out there in San Francisco?
Uh-huh. And we got married in a courthouse, San Francisco.
Did she have any relatives there?
Just that lady she went to see, and friends, you know. She was pretty well known. She was a basketball player in the Olympics.
Your wife was a basketball player?
El Salvador, yes.
Wow!
And she was pretty well known gal.
I was Olympic. I
Wow!
was Olympic.
Wow!
And
But when I come to the United States,
she,
I met him in the shipyard.
Yeah, the shipyard.
I told her that.
Yeah. My mom was also a riveter during the war. At Curtis Wright, they
Yeah.
called it.
I was a welder.
Yeah. They used to call them Rosie the Riveter.
Riveter,
Yeah, Rosie the Riveter they called those in World War
Rosie the
II.
Riveter.
Right. So how long did you stay out in San Francisco?
When the war was over, they closed the shipyard down. They started cutting it off the day that they signed the treaty, you know. And
1945? Was it 1945?
yes, December of '45 we come back.
I see.
And I come to St. Louis in, I think, January.
Did you have family here in St. Louis?
No.
Oh,
Oh, I said the sister lived here, yeah. And I went to work over at Emerson Electric.
Emerson Electric.
I worked there 19 years. And they moved out of town, and I had a bunch of neighbors here that were iron workers. They got me in the iron workers. That's a pretty hard union to get into then.
I guess it paid pretty good. So that's why it was hard to
three
get in.
times what I made at Emerson.
So that's why it was hard to get into. And your
Yeah.
wife, did she work then when you came to St. Louis?
Just off and on. She worked at Hass's Olives for a while.
What's that?
Then she went to beauty school.
Oh, uh-huh.
She didn't work at that very long. No, she had a job at home most of the time.
Where did you live when you came to St. Louis?
In Wellston
Okay.
on Clare Avenue.
Okay. Sure. And that was pretty convenient for buses and everything?
Huh?
That was a pretty convenient place for buses, catching buses?
Catching what?
Buses?
The streetcar.
Oh, I'm sorry. The streetcars?
Yeah, buses.
Were you driving? Did you have a car?
Yeah,
Did she know how to drive?
she didn't drive then.
Did she drive later?
Yeah. She drove, she didn't start driving in the 1960s.
Oh, really? So when you became an iron worker,
And I think it's 1964. I got laid off at Emerson, and neighbor lived down on next street over Ludlow. No. Anyway, he was a good friend of mine. He was an iron worker. He come up here in 1950 and went in the iron workers. He had a pretty good pull somewhere, and he come up here, he started farming up here first.
Farming?
Uh-huh.
Where?
All over the county.
Oh, okay.
Rent property, you know. And I was raised on a farm. I'd go down and help him or help him on weekends even.
Mm-hmm.
Never charged him anything. And, oh, we was busy every weekend. Somebody around here needed help. And they helped me too, you know. But anyway, I'd go down and get his horses and make a big garden here.
Were you still living in Wellston?
What?
Were you still living in Wellston?
No, that was after we moved here.
Oh, okay.
And,
Where you are right now?
yeah,
On Falcon.
on Falcon, this house.
This house. Okay.
Only I built onto it.
How big was this house when you moved in?
It was a straight shotgun. They call them shotgun houses.
Why did they call it a shotgun house?
Well, it's just straight. That one was 16 by 36. 16 foot wide and 36 feet long.
So it was long and
And
narrow.
And
How many bedrooms were there?
how many buildings?
Bedroom.
Bedrooms? It was, when we moved here, it was only one room.
Oh, only one room.
And they had this old blue building paper tacked on the walls. No wall board or anything, just that paper. I tell you, we started out pretty poor. Well, there wasn't no way to start if you didn't have it, you know. And, well, it's always taught to keep going and you'll make it. Don't stop.
Did you do any farming then yourself?
Huh?
Did you do any farming around here?
No.
But you said you helped with somebody others.
I helped old man Andy
Andy?
Katzen.
Where did he live?
Lived down on the end of that Ludlow over there.
Okay.
He lived on the far end across the creek. And then his uncle moved out there. And oh, we was good friends here for years and years. He had some pretty tough years here before he got into the iron workers. That was 2 or 3 years, 4. And he was a good old man. He was a mason. And he'd every winter he'd no work, you know, no work in the ironworks even. And they couldn't pour concrete back then in the wintertime. I'd get my check. I either got $10 I can have to go to work.
Oh.
I kept him all winter long. He's like that.
Did you?
As soon as he went to work, first check he got, he'd come start paying me back.
Oh, really?
And well, there's a lot of people like that then. I'll tell you, I don't know how you was raised up, but now even here in St. Louis County, there was people that didn't have food. We had food, plenty of it in the country. That's all we had. We didn't have no money.
Did you have a car?
Not in the country. We had one here.
What kind of car did you have?
1938 Oldsmobile. I bought it in California. And had a wreck coming home.
Oh, no.
But didn't total it out or anything. I got it fixed where I could drive it on in.
And you two weren't hurt?
Huh?
You weren't hurt. She was with you. You were married then? You two were married then?
Yeah, we was married when we come back here.
Right. Well, tell me about your children.
Well, Lowell was born in 1946. I think he was about 15 months old when we moved out here. And Danny was born in 1951.
Did they go to school? Where did they go to school? Where did the boys go to school?
Hattonville.
Was it on Fifi?
Yeah, up. Yeah, all her life they went here. And Danny went to Missouri U for a couple of years. He just up and quit me one day. And he wouldn't go back.
Did they go to Pattonville High School? Did they go to Pattonville High School?
Yes. They graduated from Pattonville. I don't know, did Laurel go one summer to school, college? I don't remember.
Then did they both get married?
Yeah. Laurel had two daughters. They live in Texas. They got him and his wife, or she took off to Texas. Her mom and dad moved down there, and we was working up to Callaway, Laurel and I were, that nuclear plant.
Oh.
And we went up there, go up there through the week. I had trailers up there. I bought some land and put a couple of trailers up there. But anyway, we'd stay up there during the week and come home on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad was in the hospital at Poplar Bluff. Well, it's where he passed on. We went down there one weekend to see him, and the last weekend, and come back, and she took the kids and went to went to Texas where her mom was. Now I didn't butt into it. I told him, I said, well, you can get the kids back here if you want them back here. He said, well, you and Mom would have to raise them. He wouldn't get them back, but I sure wished a million times he had them. But I didn't want to, make a decision for him on that kind of stuff.
Yes. Mm-hmm. What about your other son, Danny?
He got 4 daughters.
Wow. Where does he live?
2 doors over.
Oh, really?
Down. And, well, I bought that house, what was it? 75, I think. When Laurel's wife first got expected, they was living in an apartment in St. Charles, and me and the fellow was working together. His name was Videographer, and he always talking about it. He had bought a farm up north somewhere, talking about it. He said, if I could sell my farm, I'd sell my house, I'd pay the farm off and quit this stuff. And his wife had already moved up to the farm, and all the way to work and back, I'd have to listen to that stuff. And after I found out Nancy got pregnant and is expecting, one Friday I said, Bob, I've been listening to this for a long time, and when you go home, you and Carolyn, you set her down and you talk to her. If you really want to sell this house, I said, you talk to her and you decide on the price you want. And if I can afford it, I'll buy it. I told him why, Well, he come back Monday. I said, did you have a talk with Carolyn? Yeah. We decided we'd take $14,000 for it. I said, I'll buy it. So I went down to the bank and I hocked this house.
Oh, you?
I think. Yeah, I believe it did. No, I got $4,000 at the credit union in Emerson. No, I'd already bought the house when I was at Emerson, that's right. But anyway, I got a 10-year loan. I borrowed all of it on this house. And I got a 10-year loan on it, 9% interest. And renewable at 5 years, you know. I got a letter when 5 years was up, you know, 18% interest.
Wow. Whoa.
I had always had money taken out of my check for credit union in Emerson.
Uh-huh.
I had money in there to pay almost all of it but 2 payments. You know, this house over there in the credit union. I've done out of Emerson quite a while, but the money was still there, you know. But anyway, when I went down to renew that loan, she got the papers all out. I says, you know, I've learned a lot since I started banking down here. I'm getting just like the bankers. Anytime I can make a penny, I'm going to do it. I says, I can save a lot of money just to pay this off.
Right.
I did.
Good. And so your son Danny still lives there?
Danny still lives there. They bought a house at Ellsbury. Lived up there for quite a while. And after Lowell passed away, we rented that house for quite a while. And they was talking about something. I said, well, my renters moved out or something. I asked them, I said, you don't want to move down here? I said, I'll pay your rent and everything, you know, because there wasn't no rent, you know. So they've been living there ever since. But I rented it. I'd get my rent and I'd put it in the safe over there. And sad story. I got robbed.
Oh no.
Well, not exactly robbed. I got some guy come here. He's supposed to be trimming some trees somewhere. Well, I had this high line here, and he said his son was down that high line. Oh, he said, pull a $100 bill out of his pocket. You got change for this? I got to pay that kid that's helping me, him and my son. Well, I looked in my wallet and I didn't have it. He wanted me to go get change for it. That didn't sound right, but I didn't think too much of it. I said, oh, wait a minute, I probably got it in the safe. I opened that safe. I didn't lock it back up.
Oh.
I had an envelope in there. Oh, they couldn't stuff any more $100 bills.
Oh my gosh.
$12,000 that sucker got.
Oh my, oh.
But if he ever shows up, he's got a bunch of little blue moles up on the side of his head there.
Did you file a police report?
Huh?
Did you file a
yeah.
police report?
Yeah, right away. But didn't do no good.
When was that? How many years ago was that?
Oh, about 10, 11 years ago. I think it's still 1900.
Oh, really?
So what other steel projects did you work on around here?
Do what?
What other work projects did you work on when you're an iron worker?
What project was I working on?
Yeah.
When I got robbed or what?
No, just
I worked,
continue.
the first job I had was Northwest Plaza.
Tell us about Northwest Plaza.
Well, it's just a mud hole. I mean mud.
Mud, huh?
It's real wet winter, and well, it's foundations all it was, you know, putting in foundations that winter. You wear 4 buckle overs, 5 buckle overshoes, and then they come over the top of them.
Wow.
Oh, it's the most miserable place you ever saw. You didn't even attempt to change your work clothes.
But it was close to home.
Huh?
It was close to home.
Oh, yeah. It was real close to home. I worked there about almost 2 years, I guess. And Well, I was making $1.70 an hour when I left Emerson. I believe his scale then, iron workers, was 380. Oh, I thought I was doing real well, you know. Making $3.80 an hour.
So how high up was the skeleton of the?
What?
How high did it go while you were still working there?
Did you work in that bank building, that tall bank building?
Yeah. I didn't do structural work. I just stayed with the rod patches or welding. A friend of mine was in the union, you know, he was a business agent, went on vacation, appointed him as take his place while he's gone. I think he's gone about a month or two. But while he was gone, they voted that the officers could take in 2 members each. And Joe Caraway was my friend then, before, you know, I knew him for a long time. And he picked me and another fella to get our union cards. And boy, that was something, to get a union card back then from the iron workers. And some of them people have been working there for 4 years, iron working on permit.
Uh-huh.
They just wouldn't take them in the union. And here I started work in September and had a card in February.
Wow.
So I was very fortunate. Very fortunate. Then I went from there just to different jobs, you know, tying rods. But while I was down there, well, that's while Joe was still a business agent too. And called down to the hall for a welder. And Joe happened to answer the phone that day. He was on the phone. And he knew that superintendent for Millstone. And he said, "What? You got one of the best welders in St. Louis out there on the broad patch, Bud O." And he asked who, and he come down there, waded that mud down there where we was working. Says, "Carlos, you a welder?" I said, "Well, I was about 20 years ago." He says, "If you was then, you still are. Come on down with me." So said,
that experience in the shipyards came back to help you.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, what really, one time in Emerson, work was real scarce, and I was just 1 or 2 jobs I could bump onto, you know, seniority, and one of them was a welding job, and that personnel director come out there with that list, you know. And he says, "Well, this is the only job you got. It's a welder. I don't know if you could handle it or not." I said, "Well, what is it?" I was repairing them saw table cast iron and stuff, welding it. I pulled out my ABS welding card to give us in the shipyard. I says, "Will that carry me over?" He looked at it. He was kind of surprised. He says, "You won't have no worries." So I bumped that young guy off of that job, but I didn't get rich on it either. I had a job though. But 2 or 3 times that welding has really helped my job for me, you know, or kept me on the job. And see, I worked at a nuclear plant.
You said you worked at the Callaway nuclear plant.
Huh?
You said you worked at the Callaway nuclear plant?
At a powerhouse somewhere. I forget now where it was.
Is it Calhoun County?
Huh?
Calhoun County?
Callaway.
I don't remember.
It's Callaway.
Callaway?
I worked at the Callaway nuclear plant, and what was it?
Did you ever work at the Arch?
No, I didn't get down there.
Okay. What about any of the neighboring schools around here?
Do what?
Any of the schools?
Yeah, I worked on most all the schools. I worked on Pattonville and one in the better named schools. What was it? I worked in Florissant on school. I don't know, I don't remember. I know, I believe it was Pattonville, or they run out of classroom money, you know, for building. They shut it down, the classrooms down, but they kept building that gymnasium and football field.
Yeah.
Boy,
First things first.
that got me.
Yeah.
It really did. Me and my brothers talked about that school we went to down in Alton, Missouri. And it's criminal if they'd had teachers down there like they did. I know I was always just a whiz in math. And I was doing the best in the class on high school, you know, taking general math and taking typing too. And it got cold, winter come on, you know, and typing was the first class when I got in school, you know. Just had time to go to the locker and put her clothes up and get her books out. And then there's typing class. Well, I had to wait out there on the highway for a bus in the morning. You know how your fingers get. And going into a type room with frozen fingers. And we had to rent them typewriters. It cost us $2.50
Wow.
for a semester. Well, I just paid my rent on it. And that old gal says, "Carlos, ain't no use you coming back to class. You don't do nothing."
Oh.
She kicked me out.
Oh.
I went into old man Shoop, that was the superintendent. I demanded my rent back. I just paid the $2.50. That was big money.
$2.50.
Yeah, that was big money for me. And well, no, we can't do that. And I says, "Well, you will do it." I says, "I rented that typewriter and room in there." And I said, "Mr. Shoop, that allows me to use that typewriter. But she says I can't go back to class." And I says, "You won't give me my money back." And I says, "I've done paid for the rent and I'm going to use it." I says, "Nobody else might not be able to do anything after I get in there. But I says, I'll be in that typing class." Well, that really got him, you know, made him mad. And I had math under him that same year. But a month later, I was out of the math class too.
Oh, no.
And the best one in the class.
Oh.
That son of a gun. Now that's a crime.
Yeah.
That really was. I'm just praying to see that old man's smoke come off his feet and go up.
I'm sure he's long gone now.
Huh?
I'm sure he's long gone now.
Well, he kicked me out of class. That was my junior year too. My senior year, I had to make up half credits for juniors, typing and math. 2 units I had to make up. But that, you get older and you see things that, I don't know if people didn't see that back then.
I don't know. Were you happy with when your boys were in school?
Do what?
Were you happy about when your boys were in school at Pattonville? Were you happy with their education?
Oh yeah,
That's good.
Pattonville got a good system.
That's good.
Only thing about Pattonville's system, I didn't like their, here a few years ago, there's some kind of grass law come in here. I don't know if it's ever voted on or not. I really don't. But we had a couple of inspectors around here that actually tried to take over this area down here. And, well, the guy next door, like, run him out of the neighborhood. He took me to court 3 different times. And last time I told him, I says, that man is not to step on my property anymore or knock on my doors or call me. I says, there's plenty other ways to contact me besides this man here. I pointed at him. And I says, he will suffer the consequences if he does. I says, I might suffer them too, but I says, he is going to suffer them first. Oh, I was mad. Now that was wrong.
Right, but that's not the school system.
No, that wasn't the school
Okay.
system, that was Bridgeton system.
Uh-huh, I see. I see. Now, did you ever have occasion to go back and visit her family in, where did you say she was from?
Salvador, yeah, we've been down there.
Did you?
Yeah, it took us 10 years to get down there after we got married, but we got down there.
And were your sons born then? Your sons? Did they go with you?
Yeah, yeah, we all, our whole family went. And we've been down there a couple, 3 times since.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
She's wanting to go back, but she isn't able.
Now.
I want to ask what is all this about?
History,
His-
Bridgeton.
Yeah,
History, yes, history.
just your story.
Right. For younger people to learn about you and about this whole area. Will you explain that to her? Is there anything, what do you think about what's going on with Northwest Plaza right now?
Well, I don't know. My hearing kind of disgusting. Try to hear the news and these televisions. You can't get nothing out of them anymore. I mean, sound. I mean, before, my hearing wasn't that bad when I got that television. I could sit over there at the table and couldn't hardly hear it. And I don't like to get that far away from the table.
What do you think about the Northwest Plaza area now?
Well, there's supposed to be some big changes going on. I mean, big changes. I don't know what it is. Danny can tell you more about that than I can.
Well, I was just wondering what you thought.
Huh?
I was just wondering what you thought about it.
What the changes was?
Or just about Northwest Plaza, because
Oh,
you were involved.
it changed the neighborhood completely. That brought us up in this area, up even with over in, where's that other good areas? Kind of leveled Bridgeton out, I think.
So the building of Northwest Plaza helped the whole
Helped the
Bridgeton
whole
area.
neighborhood.
And most of it was actually in the St. Anne area.
Yeah.
Bridgeton only has a real
Have a
small
little-
piece
little
of
piece
it.
of it.
Right, right.
But Bridgeton got the credit for the name and everything, you know. I think, didn't they?
I don't know.
I believe they did.
Right now, there's nothing going on over there at Northwest Plaza. But you think there's plans to have it changed and have something built over there?
Well, it's not what people think. There's always changes, you know. And, well, maybe one person can change a lot of things if he gets in the right place, one person.
If they have ideas and
Yeah.
work to,
And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not.
right.
I saw some ideas here in Bridgeton I didn't care for. I can't name them right now, but at the time I could have, and give them a special name too. It's like that grass law they had here. Now you never hear about it. I just don't believe it's law. I believe that's one of them dudes up there at Bridgeton or somebody over in Clayton got an idea that it looked nicer if the grass didn't grow too tall.
Oh, yeah,
And they just put that out. And I know one thing. I'm not as easy as I used to be when I moved here. They could tell me to do anything, I'd do it. Not anymore. Because I'm going to live just like they live. They live like they want to, I live like I want to. I don't bother them and I don't want them bothering me. I'll obey their laws, but I don't want them to bother me.
Do you remember the old city hall when it was on Fifi?
No, I don't.
You don't remember that?
I don't think so.
Some of the people we interviewed told us about the volunteer fire department. Do you remember that?
Let's see. Who was the chief when I was there?
Were you a volunteer fireman?
Yeah, for a little while.
Were you?
I was working nights and I missed a call or two. And I was working midnights, sleeping days. I missed a call or two, and that old chief jumped on to me when he should have been listening. And that ended my career right there.
Oh. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your street?
On what?
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about this area of Falcon?
Well, Falcon, when I moved here, was parked up on Wilson, walk down.
It was that close?
In the spring, mud, everything. Me and Mr. King and Mr. Deathridge over on that corner. We bought rock and rocked this street from here down to past that house next door to that one there. Where he turned in his driveway, we rocked that, kept it rocked, where we could get down here. And I think when they Bridgeton built the street, they just graded down to the hard surface here where we had it rocked.
Mm-hmm.
And of course at the end of that, it's just dirt, you know, and well, they had some rock, but not like we did. We had 12, 15 inches of rock on this road. But anyway, they just graded down to our hard surface here and blacktopped over it, and then took it on down. Well, this last week or two, that water main broke there at the end of that. And I say it's where they would come off our hard surface, that blacktop, and didn't put a hard surface there, and there's a certain amount of vibration. Every time a car comes off of one place onto another one, there's a certain amount of vibration. You don't feel it, but it's there. And I think that's what breaks that water main there. Of course, I'm not no engineer.
Yeah.
Well, it don't cost me nothing to get my water shut off once in a while, though.
thank you very much for letting us come today.
Huh?
Thank you for letting us come today.
Okay.
It was nice to meet you and your wife and your cat. And
Yeah, I couldn't do without this little old woman.
very lovely lady. Lovely lady. Thank you for letting us come into your house.
She said thank you for letting her come talk to us.
Thank you.
She said thanked us for letting them come to interview us
And for what?
for
For what?
history.
For what?
Well,
For your grandchildren's age.
they can read about Carlos and Isolina Johnson, 3487 Falcon, 1948 to 2020 or whatever it is.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you both very much. Bye-bye.